Alright, so we're I'm lubing up our little used comp. This is an old comp 270H grind. Out of God knows what, but it was in good shape. I don't know, I found it laying around the shop. I guess that is the beauty of having a machine shop. I get cores in here and sometimes I'll have good parts in it. So I'm going to put Mr. 270H in there. It did have a little rust on the journals. I polished it off of there. Oh, and I know I'm going to have some hateful shit in the comments too. Oh my God, I can't believe you're putting that in there. Oh my goodness gracious, that'll never work. To which I say, kiss my ass, it'll work. Kiss my ass. They really should if they saw the dent in that one cylinder on number 8, wouldn't they? Yeah, the cam rings had a little wear. We're just not going to worry about that. Come on.
We are using the same cam bearings, aren't we?
Yeah. They had a little wear in them, but guys shouldn't worry about shit like that. That's trivial. We got a lot going on in the shop today. We seem to have this big pile of pressed off pistons down here that's been here for a couple of years.
Guess who has to fucking deal?
Well, hey, Misty was helping you.
What?
Oh, what?
But you got the bad part about this, you got to shuck and shell these damn things because they won't take them at the scrapyard like with the rings on them and the wrist pins in them. So anyway, so that's not what today's video is about. But anyway, say hi, Matthew.
So my hair probably looks like that.
No, it really don't. Hi, Misty. Oh, asshole. So while Matt's over there shucking and shelling pistons, I'm trying to put this truck motor together for my old farm truck. That, you know, we started out, and if I had this to do over again, I would have just bought brand new pistons for it because I literally have had to go and find. There's pistons out of 3 different motors here. And they'll be fine, but literally, you know, like 3 different blowed up race car motors. You notice the valve release bigger in this one than it is in this one, where I fly cut this one a little smaller. That one's a little bigger, but it's got rods from 2 different motors in it. Because we had, all this started out, I was just going to replace one rod and piston. But the one bent one, because the customer that had it washed it and let water get down inside of it, and it hydraulic, and well,
she's just a little bit curvy.
And I could have pressed this piston off, but it kind of whippy-wooed on the crankshaft. So anyway, we finally got 8 rods and pistons to put in this damn thing. And of course, the rings we're using, we're knowing out of a 350 Oldsmobile that I file fit down. A 30 over 350 Olds is perfect for an 80 over piston. And yes, this is an 80 over. And you know, I could say this, I don't have any money in this thing. I have managed to find a set of bearings that were on the shelf that been there for years. I had to blow the dust off. I found a set of rod bearings that were on the shelf that you know. Found a decent crank. Of course, the crank is a 3040, which doesn't bother me a bit, which we went over that already. And look at them bearings. They were literally on the shelf for probably 15, 20 years. So, I'm going to show you this little trick. This engine's tapped. The front plugs are tapped on it. I've already got the cam in it. So I'm going to show you a little trick that I do. I always tap this with a 1/4 inch tap, 1/4 inch pipe tap. And when you tap these, and I've shown this in other videos, when you tap this, you want to make sure, now you can tap these almost as far as you want to, but you want to make sure that that center one does not cover the oil hole. But to oil the timing chain in this engine, I drill a 30 thousandths hole in that center plug. And I don't know if you can see that. Can you see the hole, Misty?
Yes.
Barely?
Barely. Barely.
Can you see if I put it in the light?
Yeah, you can see it now.
Okay. And the way I drill it, and then I just chamfer the edges of it. And what that does is it does two things. It allows air that's in the oil galley to actually trap. Now, some people say it will make it drain back. It's going to drain back anyway. But any air that would get trapped in there, it will come out there first. But it will also spray oil directly on the timing chain. And the way I drill that hole, go down to Harbor Freight and get you a pack of these micro drill bits. They're hanging over there by the drills and the sandpaper and stuff. And it's like $3 for these.
This video is not sponsored by Harbor Freight.
This video is not sponsored by Harbor Freight. Also, get you one of these, and this is just a pin drill bit, or a pin drill that you drill by hand. But what I do is I take the little drill bit and put it in there. I take the other side of it off, and then I take it over here to the drill press. Now you can find some way to hold it. Now I've actually made a hole here for doing this, and I screwed the plug in there, and put a little situation in there, and then you can drill your hole. So I just wanted to show y'all that neat little trick. This absolutely 100% does help two things. It helps the thrust, the cam thrust, and it also helps to oil the timing chain. So anyway, now I'm going to be back. We're going to lay the crank in this thing, and we're going to start assembling this ratty old motor. Okay, so make sure that when you drill this hole in this plug, you go ahead and put it in immediately, because if it gets mixed up with the other ones, and that hole's hard to see, and you should screw this thing into the back of the block or in one of the outside plug holes, or even in these, if you screw them in these, you could lose oil pressure there. You don't want that, because then the liver's going to pump up. But you want to make absolutely sure that you put this plug in first and go on and get it out of the way, so it don't end up in the back of the block spraying oil all over the damn place, making your life a living hell. So we're going to screw him in. But you know what I need to do? Misty?
Hmm?
I need to make sure that damn plug ain't on.
Piston shell shucker.
Huh?
I said get a new piston shell shucker.
Stay in your fucking hole. Shuck your pistons and like it.
Pass. I'm only here because I have to be.
You don't have to be.
Well, in that case.
But if you want room to move your truck in here so we can work on it. Okay, so I need the flashlight. Where did I put it? Ah, there it is.
It's a crisis.
Okay, we're back. And I'm going to show y'all on tapping this. So this is a 1/4 inch pipe tap. Now, early model blocks, you can just tap the hole. Later model blocks, 1-piece blocks, the outside holes you can usually tap, but the one in the center is smaller. So you'll have to drill that out, and I usually drill it out with a 1/2 inch, I think it's a 1/2 inch, I don't know, don't take my word for it, check it, but I'm pretty sure it's a 1/2 inch drill bit that I go in there with, and drill the front hole out so that I can tap it on the late model blocks. And on the late model blocks, of course, you know, you got to get it flush. So anyway, so this is the tap that you use. I'm not going to screw it in there because I don't want to get any debris in my hole. Again, this is our plug, or our plug with the front plug with the hole in it. Now, if you look down in here, if I can find a flashing light. Oh, thank you, miss. If you look down in this hole right here, there is a bunch of rust I need to do something about. But anyway, there's a little ledge there, and that ledge is not going to let, for the most part, it's not going to let that plug go any further past it. But if you see that front hole right there, can you get that in the camera?
I'm trying, because
that hole right there that I've got the end of the calipers over. Can you see it? Can you see it now? There's a flashlight in the way. Gonna have to hold it. There it is. You kind of got it now. There. That hole there. You see it? Mm-hmm. That hole right there. Okay. You don't want this front plug to screw into there far enough to where it's going to
plug the hole
or cut half of it off, because then it cuts half the oil supply off to the mains. So we are going to measure said hole to the front of the block with this shitty flashlight. That is the sorriest flashlight I think I've ever seen in my life. And right in that area somewhere. And now we're going to make sure that our plug is shorter, and it is. The plug is shorter if it goes in flush. Okay, it don't have to go in all the way flush, but it's got to go in pretty close. So we know we're not going to cover that hole up, and yeah. So we'll go ahead and put this front plug in, even though that's rusty. And I cleaned that too. Let me see that again. Oh, I guess it's just surface rust on the outside of that hole. It'd be alright. What the hell is that?
Matthew dumping rings.
Oh. Matthew's not happy with me right now. Alright, so we know if we go in there flush like that, him is good. Alright, now we put the other two plugs in, and it's not rocket science. Just put them in there. Now normally, if I was doing a customer's motor, I'd put brand new plugs in, but this is my shit, so I'm not. And I don't care. It's just a farm truck. And then when we get done with this motor, it's either going in Matt's truck or it's going in Misty's truck, one or the other. But I got to build another 350 because I gave Matthew a 350 for Christmas, and Misty's getting a 350 in her truck. Right?
You.
So, and then I'm building a turbocharged 400 or 383 for my farm truck. But we don't want to turn Misty loose in that to go to school, and all the boys would be like wanting to race her and shit. And I know she can't resist. Hey, she'd be calling me going, Daddy, I'm in the ditch. I wrapped the truck around a telephone pole or some shit, you know. Can you come get me? Okay, so we'll be back. I gotta go prep the crank, which I showed you. We polished it, but I gotta go wash it, and then we will. Uh-oh.
Hey, you're hitting on one side.
I'm hitting on one side. Anyway, and then we will wipe the bearing clean, put the rear main seal in, slam the crank in, put this damn thing together finally.
Yay!
What the hell?